Hello, everyone. My name is Ryder. I am a staff writer for Flip Screen, the film blog, and today I am here with
Sim. She, her pronouns. TikTok is ediblesrex, all one word.
the wonderful Sim. And she has made a lot of videos that scratch my brain itch about werewolves and supernatural stuff. So today we're going to be having a little fun discussion about all that. To start, what, if anything, sparked your desire to make TikToks about tropes in supernatural media?
Okay, the boring answer is that it's like a good idea to write what you know. And I've been immersed in media with like magical or supernatural elements for so long. Analyzing it is arguably like my only skill, and it's fun. But the better answer for how I specifically wound up making like pseudo essayist werewolf TikToks actually goes back to one of my first ever successful TikToks, which had this like random Easter eggy kind of joke about Steric, embarrassing, like right in the middle. And when I wrote it, I was like, okay, 5 people are going to get this reference and that will be great for the 6 of us, right? But that is not what happened. The actual response like blew me out of the water. Like people were all up and down the comment section being like, oh my God, I had a visceral reaction to that. That made my stomach swoop. You unearthed like all these feelings from high school. And I was like, wait. This show still has wide resonance. Like I thought it was just me, but that was like, it's slapped me in the face like, okay, Teen Wolf mattered. And I was like, why? Like, why this show? What is it about it specifically? And I couldn't really answer that question, which annoyed me because I'm that personality type. So I started like binge researching old werewolf lore and writing this like manifesto is maybe the appropriate word, trying to just like work through it for myself. And the whole time I'm like, this is lovely. There's no way I'm putting it on TikTok. It's like so dense. There's so much historical context. It would be better suited for like a longer form something. So I shelved it for months and then went back to it not too long ago, did some better research because the flip side of extreme passion is like also extreme hubris, made a lot of edits. And in the process of doing that, I was like, you know what? I'll bite. And that's like my Joker origin story. Like even now, the majority of my werewolf content is just like condensing arguments from that original like insane person manifesto. And that's why it all has that distinctive edge of like desperation. Like I'm trying to cram so much in because I am.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about the inside joke because that's how I felt with your True Blood TikTok referencing that particular thing. And I was like, because my favorite thing to say is like, I've watched every single episode of True Blood multiple times, and season 7, they ran out of sharks to jump and were just throwing themselves in the water covered in blood. Like,
yeah.
They knew they were getting canceled. They were like, you know what?
That show's like fantastic, but also like a nightmare. And there's a duality there.
It's a fever dream. Multiple awakenings about myself came from that show, but now coming at it from like a critical angle, now that I'm older and like the actual age I should be watching that show.
Yeah.
It's so bad, but I still love it. I still love it.
You know what? And that's allowed. And that's valid.
And going back to Teen Wolf, you've made a whole series of TikToks on them. They're all fantastic.
Thank you.
Only seen 2 seasons of Teen Wolf because I noped out of that show. Couldn't do
Understandable.
it. But all of these, I'm like, I get it. Okay, I see the appeal now. Do you consider this to be like good werewolf representation?
Actually, yes, which is funny because Teen Wolf isn't good anything. It's certainly not good representation for real minority groups, and it's barely good at like storytelling. But I do think Teen Wolf is a successful sympathetic werewolf story for a few reasons. Firstly, it's like a majority werewolf cast, which is rare and also helpful. Like it has the room to explore like a spectrum of personalities and motivations and experiences, right? And that leads into the bigger thing I think they did, which I really liked and thought was really smart, which was they made it explicit, like that werewolves are pack creatures. Like they're meant to exist within families. They struggle if they're like not within a family unit. So it like foregrounds the relationships between characters, which is always more interesting and textually rich than a bunch of like disparate lone wolves, you know? And it lends this kind of like intimate personal quality to the monstrous, which is like relatable. It's a very human story. It's about cultural others creating a community at great personal risk, not just to like attain some climactic goal, but because that just like has inherent value itself. And when you combine that with performances that are surprisingly understated and skillful and like accessible considering MTV, it gives it this like emotional realism to the werewolves. Yes, I do.
MTV walked so the CW could run.
Axe. Oh my God.
Go back to the term you used of predominant or like majority werewolf cast, like as if these are actual people who are werewolves and not actors.
Right, yeah. Listen.
You heard it here first. The entire
emotional realism. It's like, it's real to me.
Breaking news, the entire cast of Teen Wolf are actual werewolves. That's the takeaway from this whole
if you're taking anything away from this, it's that Tyler Hoechlin is a wolf and also Mike King and can do anything.
The new guy playing Superman is an actual werewolf. This is, we know.
Open your mind.
I figure out how to animate, I'll put something there. So I don't know if Teen Wolf is the answer, but what is your favorite werewolf? If that's your favorite werewolf TV show, what would be your favorite werewolf movie?
Ooh, probably the classic. Okay, it is my favorite werewolf TV show. I call it bad because it is, but it's also just like affecting, like it just stays with you. Or maybe I just watched it too young. Movie, probably American Werewolf in London. Like just
a classic.
Classic. That's the origin source of like so much werewolf canon in the West.
Yeah. Oh, that movie. Didn't age well, but I still loved it.
Yeah.
That's those Hollywood pieces that like
nothing ages well.
Yeah. But that one particularly, you're like, ooh, this one like doesn't hold up at all.
But, yeah, although that transformation scene, I mean, come on, with the hand like lengthening. I was watching with my roommates recently, and they were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah."
That there are parts of it that holds up, but the whole story goes.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like a nonsense.
So, following that, what is your least favorite piece of either werewolf or just straight supernatural film and TV?
So many big stinkers to choose from. I'm gonna do like all supernatural. Twilight is the most harmful to the world, but I still kind of like it a little bit when no one's looking and like the curtains are pulled or whatever. So I think probably my least favorite piece of supernatural media in anything is Riverdale.
Oh,
Riverdale has random. Sorry?
It shouldn't even be supernatural. It's about
exactly. The writing is like some of the worst I've ever seen. Like it gives me a nosebleed to listen to like Cheryl or Veronica speak, like truly unforgivable. And I mean, on the one hand, I do respect waiting until like the third season to be like, surprise, there's like spooky magic. That whole Gargoyle King season, I was like, is this what's going on? Am I crazy? Are they crazy?
I feel like Riverdale, I've watched it off and on, and most of it's hate watching. And that show, I'm like, I feel like I've done drugs every time I watch. So I think that's like, and the fact that it shouldn't even be supernatural in the first place, to be like, we took Archie comics, like the things you used to get in the grocery store, and made it sexy and supernatural.
And I loved the Archie comics too. That one that would like pierce my heart that the Riverdale show is not good, because I love Archie.
I had a sidebar when I was in film school. I had a teacher our screenwriting teacher actually wrote for Archie Comics. And
that's so cool.
Someone in our class, this was right when Riverdale came out, someone in my class compared me to Jughead. And I was like, which Jughead though? And they said Riverdale Jughead. And even my teacher across the room just went, ow.
It's a 1-2 punch.
I'm hurt.
I've never seen me without this hat on. That's weird.
I'm weird. I'm a
weirdo.
That whole show needs put the hat on
it.
Stop. And so would you like, of all the scale of supernatural creatures, I think two of the big ones, vampires and werewolves, which side you picking?
I mean, I feel like it's the obvious answer, but I'm going werewolf. They're alive. I like being alive. I'm way too excitable and like uppity to fit in with bloodsuckers. to use the derogatory. Werewolves are allowed to have fun. We like to have fun. I also have no desire for immortality. Like, I'm exhausted thinking about slogging through the next 50 years, let alone like forever.
Those are excellent points, and I feel like I'm a bit more of a vampire stan than I am a werewolf. I have actually, I'll show it off. I have this lovely little.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Love me some vampires, but I do think the fun aspect. Plus, like, I don't know, I feel like I would end up being like a himbo werewolf where it's like, I'm not like the get away from me, I'm a monster. It's like, I just don't want you to see how fucking stupid I am. Because God knows all my friends who know I'm a werewolf are going to do that stupid, like, throw a ball trick, but not actually throw the ball, and my ass is staring out into traffic looking for this fake ball.
Not the dog. I threw it. Come on, Ryder. Come on. You want to get good boy. Good boy.
I'm going to cause international panic just by being a fucking idiot if I was a werewolf. So
it's going to be you like in a corner with your friend or whatever being like, look what I can do with my teeth, and like retracting. And like, again, someone's going to be like, are werewolves real? The secret's blown.
The secret's blown. It's literally just me.
Because Ryder had to show off.
How that hasn't happened yet. I don't like if werewolves and vampires
like in real life.
Yeah, like if they're real, because I'm convinced like there has to be some basis in reality. Like something has to have inspired this. So the fact that I want it to happen, because if there's any actual werewolves or vampires watching this and you're in LA, hit me up. I'm ready, fully willing. Go to Toronto for Sin.
Yeah. We're ready. This human life is doing nothing for me. I want to try again with a different species.
Different species.
I want to be a big dog lady.
Exactly. Like, I would want to be like the turn into a full wolf werewolf though, versus like the full terrifying shift.
Like half, like in Teen Wolf when they lose their eyebrows for no reason.
I do like their partial shifts where it's like the face and the claws. I don't want the thing where I'm a giant like Remus
half Lupin. Like a beast.
Yeah. I don't want the Remus Lupin thing where you look like a naked mole rat with Hulk pants. Like
for Remus. He went through too much to also look like a giant rat.
Moon in real life. Good Lord. We're not talking about
yeah, no, we're not going.
Open that door. Just... supernatural film and television is like a genre that has grown and evolved, but it's still full of like harmful cliches and tropes. If you could see any one of those harmful tropes be banned from the genre, what would that be? And then on the flip side, what is not a harmful one, but what's a favorite of the supernatural trope that you like want in everything?
Okay, favorite, found family, pack dynamics, whatever.
Yeah.
Love that stuff. That's good. That's nice and easy. Least favorite, there are like so many, probably the constant like rape and like toxic masculinity stuff. I know it's like kind of a general answer, but it splinters into so many tropes. It's like not even worth it to like identify. Like, I mean, monster stories are how we like work through anxieties about the body and sex and sexuality and agency, especially during times where those concepts are in flux or being challenged. So of course it's prone to questionable consent stuff and like troubling gender dynamics. Like this is how people reckon with tough stuff. So it almost feels counterproductive to want to strike the ugly things from the record entirely, but like almost all supernatural media has at least one moment where the plot just like stops dead in its tracks, so we can do some kind of like overt display of masculinized physical force or dominance, and it's always either like horrific or boring. Like I get it, you know, man big and strong and hunger for flesh. Believe me, I live it every day, pal. I don't need it like here too. Also, and I've had this question forever and no one cares to answer it, like realistically, why would a non-human entity subscribe to human gender and sexuality norms anyway? Like they literally are a different species. So that just always feels like the creator.
Like Lestat in Interview with a Vampire is like the answer to that, because that man is not cis, nor is he heterosexual. Like,
and you know what? If you had to live for thousands of years, I highly, highly doubt you would spend all of those as like the like repressed masculine like ideal. Like that's so boring.
Oh yeah, definitely. Louis definitely like repressed the entire time. Lestat's just like, I wear pink and frills and I'm just here to have a good time. That's actually a really good point. Why, like, if you are immortal or not even human, like being turned from a human, I get it, like you're still stuck there. But once you're in it, are you like,
at a certain point, like you have to just be like, you know what?
Fuck it.
I'm gonna try dick, okay?
Yeah, and I imagine too, especially that's what I want in another like werewolf film. If you're a werewolf or a vampire for so long and you're suddenly like, my dating pool is non-existent. If you're like in a pack with a bunch of dudes and you're like, you know, Wolfie McWolferson over there is looking pretty hot. Like, when does that happen?
Wow, it's like I'm there. Me next to Wolfie McWolferson, I'm right in it. It is true though. And also any like environment of like, I just feel like it's like hockey. Like it's like the most homophobic sport and therefore it becomes like the most homoerotic because you put too much pressure on one concept and it kind of just like, concepts are fluid, right? So I definitely feel like at a certain point, these supernatural beings,
Hollywood
they're not cishet forever. I mean, come on, Hollywood catch up.
Cishet forever sounds like that's what hell looks like. Literally what hell looks like. And just for fun question, because we've brought up Teen Wolf and Twilight, make them fight. If Jacob Black and Derek Hale got in a fight, who would win and why?
Okay, my heart wants it to be Derek Hale. I mean, he never fell in love with a baby, so he deserves the win. But like Jacob Black can turn into a wolf so large it's mistaken for a bear. And by the end of the show, Derek does have like a full wolf shift, but like Jacob is the descendant of Ephraim Black, man. That's an alpha. Derek's a beta who got traumatized into power he never wanted. So I think if we're doing like the wolf shift, and he makes terrible choices, he's constantly getting his behind handed to him throughout the show. That being said, if it's just like mano a mano, fisticuffs, no wolf out, Derek might have a shot because I don't know if Jacob is practiced enough at that kind of combat.
Do you think, follow up then, if it was like, if Derek could call in the pack, do you think he would have an extra shot? Because I know if Jacob called in Leah Clearwater, Derek's gone. Like,
yeah, eviscerated, pink mist.
Like, that's like a straight up, there's no fight scene. It's just her gone.
She just uses her like telekinetic powers.
She just looks at him and he just shrivels. Yeah, but I feel like the pack maybe. Also, Jacob deserves to have his ass handed to him.
He so does. And I would love to see it. I just don't know if Derek is the man for it. If they could call the packs in, it would depend also because Derek is constantly in this like ever shifting pack thing where he like, they keep killing off his Boyd and Erica, man. That's where my heart is. If you could call in Boyd and Erica and Scott, then I think maybe there's a chance. But I don't know. I know you can see that I'm literally struggling with this because I so want the Teen Wolf werewolves who are good and nice people and better written to win, but I still think Jacob's pack is really strong, man. I am the son of Ephraim Black.
Yeah, it's also like, do they even count as werewolves? Like, they're shapeshifters. That happen.
Technically, no. Yeah, technically speaking, the pack are shapeshifters, but I mean, turn into a big dog, you're a werewolf. Come on.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if Sam from True Blood gets considered a werewolf, like for most of the seasons, and he turns into like a literal
an Alcide.
Yeah. Suck it.
Suck it. Meal. Alcide. That show is so weird.
Agwin, I love you, but you can't do a Southern accent, girl. 7 seasons, never.
But I respect that she tried.
She has an Oscar.
And you know what? She maintained it and it never got better, which is like impressive in its own right.
Yeah, because like there's some actors you can play a drinking game with their accent. Anna Paquin, it's at least like consistently bad.
It's the same. You're like, okay, so she's from like a stupid town maybe where they say things weird and wrong.
She's from New Zealand and
is she really
somehow,
like the actual?
I think she is. No, maybe. I'm gonna look like a real idiot because I can't edit around this bit, but I'm pretty sure.
Exposed.
Now I have to Google it. I'm Googling.
Ha ha. Ryder doesn't know Anna Paquin facts off the top of his head.
If you had asked for like 13-year-old Ryder in the midst of my True Blood obsession,
would have been on it.
I would have been able to tell you every single thing about that woman. Born in Canada, brought up in New Zealand. I was right.
She's one of us. My girl.
She's born in Winnipeg.
Oh.
No clue
A
where that is.
place.
No
No?
place.
I've been briefly.
Yeah. Okay, now final question. If considering how many TikToks you make about not True Blood, excuse me, Teen Wolf, do you think people who have never watched it or never been like exposed to the genre, should people watch Teen Wolf, a show that started in 2011, MTV's precursor to the CW trash fires? Should people watch it?
That is like, you're putting so much responsibility on my shoulders. Here's the thing. I genuinely feel like I can't entirely divorce my experience of Teen Wolf from like the context it was in, like as like the number one Tumblr show of like a period or whatever in like 2011, 2012, 2013, when I was like 15 and like kind of needed a show with like those kind of dynamics or whatever. And so even when I watch it now, I'm like, it does hold up, but like I don't know if it does. My general advice would be watch the first few seasons, and then when it becomes like enraging, just dip, like feel no obligation to continue to the end, because it truly gets like crazy insane. But I think there's something good there. I think it's worth, I mean, lots of people are watching it for the first time, apparently, based on my TikToks, which is like, oh my God, Jeff Davis, I've got your back, but I also want you to run me some money for this free promo.
Honestly, MTV needs to pick up your TikToks. Like,
I was talking to my roommate about this actually. We became friends based off of like a mutual Teen Wolf love when we like met in university. I was like, what if this, like, I continue making these TikToks and one of them does really well, and someone who worked on this show sees my like dorking out over like this content, like over analyzing from like 10 years, like what am I gonna do, Gabby? And she'd be like, listen, that will never happen, so don't worry. It could happen. It could happen. I made a video about Freely the Banana Girl and she saw it. It could happen. I said this in a TikTok before, but in my sweatiest nightmares, I can see Dylan O'Brien's face as he looks over my TikTok account and just goes like, obsessed, creepy, weird.
I feel like all of us have those things that are like, if you can't see behind me, mine is definitely Star Wars. Where I can make a million TikToks about it, and I know it's all fun and games until someone sees it and you're like, oh, that's...
My family just started seeing my TikToks. It just like finally like kind of crossed into there, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, they're gonna ask me so many questions about werewolves I'm not gonna have like adequate answers to, or I'm gonna have answers but I'm not gonna wanna. I still think it's kind of embarrassing to be like this gung-ho, but I also think it's stupid to be that embarrassed, so then I'm like embarrassed of being embarrassed, and it all just becomes a big...
It's 2021. We're done with cringe culture. We're just being cringe as we can.
I've been in my house since March, okay? I will post my gay TikToks and I'll have a good time with it too.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time. If I can't leave my house, I need something. And it's gay TikTok werewolf media. Like, that's...
Listen, climb every mountain. If you smoke them, got them. Nope, if you got them, smoke them. Other way. What? There's another one. That old chestnut.
Well, this was fantastic. Let's remind people where they can find you on TikTok.
At Edibles Rex, all one word.
And I don't post as much entertaining TikTok stuff, but I'm on TikTok at Cuddly Rider. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining me. Thank you
for having me.
Inspiring this whole werewolf spiral I've been on. And
yes, my impact.
thanks everyone for checking out Flip Screen. See you on the flip side.